Man, oh man, what can you say about that game yesterday? What an absolute thriller going against a Hall of Fame quarterback like Drew Brees. Just an outstanding game. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, stressing out. You know, the defense played, I'd say, pretty poorly. But, you know, you got to consider who they're going against. But, man, what an epic showdown in New Orleans. What a way to represent. Our fans came out heavy down there and really showed up. So props to Niners fans. But, yeah, what a game. It was one for the ages, probably one of the best 49er games in the last, I don't know, maybe since the pick at the stick by Bowman. So the Niners win 48-46. They go to 11-2. They are now the top seed again with Seattle losing last night. So the Niners, if the Niners win the next two and Seattle drops either of the next two, the Niners could capture home field advantage. So that would be important. Otherwise, if they both win out, it would come down to at the end in Seattle, they would have to fight for the division title and for home field and all that. So it's gonna be a fantastic next couple of weeks. Niners can't look past Atlanta or the Rams. Both of them are actually playing really strong right now, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of 49ers team comes out next week after a huge, hard-fought game. You look at the stats, and Jimmy Garoppolo had himself a day. 26 of 35, 349 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. That really wasn't his fault. Just another great game for Jimmy. You know, all the hate he gets, especially from guys like Stephen A. Smith, and yet Jimmy comes through again, comes through in the clutch. You know, all these questions that we've had about him, even myself, those were definitely answered yesterday. What an acquisition Emmanuel Sanders has been. Just an unbelievable acquisition. The Niners were thought to have maybe given up a little too much for him in that trade, but big get. 7 catches, 157 yards, a touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. He looked fantastic. Deebo Samuel, 5 catches, 76 yards. Just another strong performance by the rookie. He's getting better and better as the weeks go. And of course, first I'll talk about Kendrick Bourne. You know, he's not he's not real high on my list, but he's growing on me a little bit. He's definitely more of a sure hands guy down by the goal line, and he had 2 touchdown receptions yesterday. So props to Kendrick Bourne for balling out lately and making up for the drops that he's had in the past couple weeks. And then, of course, my man George Kittle. 6 catches, 67 yards, a touchdown, and a huge play at the end of the game. I mean, 4th and 2, you throw it to Kittle, he breaks it long. Greg gets the face mask penalty to add on top of the huge play. And then Robbie Gould, who I was very nervous about and with that kick, comes through with the clutch kick to win it. So, man, oh man, just a great game. I'm so stoked. So they went 2-1 on this murderous stretch, which, if you ask me, that was the best case scenario. Worst case would have been 1-2. So, and they only lost at Baltimore by a field goal at the end. So the Niners could very well now be having only a 1 loss. But I will take it. I'll definitely take it. We control our own destiny, guys. That's all we can ask for. I think the bye would come at a great time because we have a lot of injuries, man. D Ford left the game yesterday with his hamstring. Sherman went down. And, the losses of Quan Alexander and Jaquiski Tart and even D Ford were made very evident yesterday. Marcel Harris played very poorly. He took a lot of bad angles, bit hard on the play action, and the Niners paid for it. Niners didn't really get home with any sacks either. Part of that, I think, is Drew Brees and the ability to get the ball out quick. The other part has to be just the fact that The Niners are little by little, they're getting pieces chipped away from that defense. And it's starting to show. That being said, Michael Thomas is, to me, the best receiver in football. He's not on my team, but it don't matter. Just an unbelievable. He's not a speed guy. He's just a body control, route running, size. He has it all. He's a prototypical receiver that I wish the Niners had on their team. But yeah, and he really played amazing. Drew Brees, of course, is Drew Brees. He's going to have a yellow jacket someday. And that was just a game for the ages. It's amazing, where we've come in a year. Last year with Jimmy going out and everything that happened, and to see that we have a chance to control our own destiny and possibly lock up home field advantage. Who would have thought? Out of my wildest dreams, for sure. I was hoping for a 500 year, going 8-8, maybe possibly 9-7, but to have a chance to clinch it all would be awesome. So that's pretty much it for me. I just wanted to do a fast recap of the game. I'm really stoked. I'm looking forward to the next 3 weeks. It's going to be interesting to see if the defense can show up and show out and atone for how they played this past week. They're definitely missing, like I said, Jaquiski Tart. Definitely. I wasn't a big fan of him back in the day because of all the injuries, and I was calling for them to get rid of him. Shows how much I know. But he's definitely a difference maker. Missing Quan has definitely been huge. Quan Alexander, it was like a tone setter on that defense, and it's tough not to have him out there. And then, a lot of the attention now is going to Bosa, and the other guys haven't really been stepping up. You got to think about it. We lost Ronald Blair for this season. That was a huge loss for the 49ers. And losing Ronald Blair, he was one of our best pass rushers. You could say that he could have been behind Nick Bosa, number 2. He was just a disruptor. The Niners had a really deep rotation. Rotation's taken a deep hit. It'd be interesting to see if they take Contavious Street off of IR and see where that goes. It hasn't been super impressive from what I've heard in the preseason, but he is another body. He is healthy. Julian Taylor's out for a little bit, so hopefully we'll get him back soon. And, hey, if the Niners can lock it up, if they can lock up home field advantage and get to rest certain guys like Sherman and Tart and, D Ford, get those guys all healthy for the long stretch playoff run, that would be ideal. So let's hope the Niners can do that. We get Atlanta, then the Rams, then Seattle. Hopefully we can take care of business. Hopefully Seattle drops one in the next 2, and we can lock it up, and we can go in that Seattle game without having to play anybody, which would be ideal. So that's going to do it for me for this week. I'll see everybody around again whenever I decide to make another video. And I'll talk to y'all guys later. Thanks.